All right. So, do I believe that my school would benefit from a program based off of the resilience model? I absolutely think so. I think that our students would be very responsive to this. I believe that they would love the praise. They would love the constant gratification for everything that they're achieving and everything that is happening, and just changing their mindset because they don't believe that our mindsets are different than what they're used to. So when I have a student come into my classroom and they are misbehaving or acting out in a way that they would do in another class that would typically get them the attention they want, when they don't get that from me and they actually get a friendly nudge like, "Hey, what are you doing, silly? Like, we're over here having fun and I don't want to do that. Like, that's not fun. Let's come do this." And just giving them that second to say, "Oh my goodness, I'm making a mistake. This is actually a fun activity. Let me go participate." They don't value that enough because it doesn't happen enough. But if we remind children that it is okay to take a second and just kind of step back and gather your thoughts because you've fallen and get back up and say, "Wait a second, let me try doing this another way," or "Let me see what I did wrong so that I can be more successful this time." And so I know that from experience, showing my kids that we have second chances and third, fourth, fifth. I mean, we could keep trying and we will always develop ourselves and always become better. Showing them that definitely developed conversations in my classroom differently and developed criticism differently. My students were more open to having conversations about their own work and critical conversations at that. And this is definitely because they felt as if they could handle it because I taught them they could handle it. And I showed them that we have to exercise our brains like we exercise the muscles in our arms and our legs. And, you can't just pick up a weight one time and call it a day. You've got to do so many reps and you've got to repeat and you've got to keep going and you've got to end up, bringing up the weight. And just in that way, we've got to build up our abilities and scaffold. And so when you really break down the brain to a kid, it is so enlightening that they understand it. Because if we would just tell them how their brains work, they would be so much more responsive. We want to try to trick them. We want to try to show them this. No, they don't want that. I mean, I'm all about a good show, and I always put on a good show. But a real show. Tell them how their brain works. Explain to them you can't do that because your brain is still growing and you're a small child and this is why you've got to go to sleep at this time. Telling kids why before they ask why is so powerful. And so let's show them how to be resilient before they ask how to be resilient, before they have to be reactive. Let's show them how to be proactive and how to grow through their deficits and their failures or challenges and obstacles. So as educators, that goes on to the next question. Should that be our role? Absolutely. I don't believe that it's anybody else's role because we teach them how to take tests. We teach them how to succeed in interviews. We teach them how to have conversations. We teach them how to have Socratic seminars where you talk about your opinion and you voice how you connected to a text and how it could have supported a whole different response that somebody else said. But now we're questioning whether we should be teaching them how to have a conversation with themselves. That is so critical. Conversation within yourself is so important. It's almost more important, if not, it absolutely is more important than having a conversation with somebody else. And so, like the TED Talk that we had to listen to with Charles Hunt, he said that he's not going to make choices that will affect his future based off of temporary circumstances. And I think that that is so powerful. Don't be upset and throw a tantrum and throw this desk because you got an F. That is a temporary circumstance. And I believe that I give my students way too many chances and it's something that I am trying to balance out, but it's because I believe that we don't educate our children enough on how to be resilient and how to cope with certain situations. So when I see tantrums happening and when I see that a student is making a negative choice, I'm more often likely to walk up to them and have a very calm demeanor and say, "Hey, what's going on, dude? Like, I know you know if you throw those scissors, it's not going to be a good day. And I know you also know that I don't want to do all that paperwork. And so now that we've gotten all that out of the way, let's go ahead and put those down and move on." And so it's like he sees, oh my gosh, she sees me for a person that just made a mistake. I don't know any better because at home this is what I see happening. And she's letting me know that there's a different way to go about this. You know what? This lady might be onto something. And so it's just a matter of having conversations sometimes, and those are the conversations we're not having. So as educators, I think that we definitely need to take a step forward in taking on that role and show our kids, model to our kids. When you trip, you fall. You get back up, you dust off, and tie your shoes or figure out why you tripped. Call the custodian to clean up the spill you slipped on. Don't leave it there. You know, be proactive. And so showing kids how to bounce back is so powerful and would help us. I mean, it's just in the momentum of it. So if we're teaching kids something and we toss them out into the field and we go, okay, go ahead and practice. They fail. And they don't come back. What are we to do? I mean, if they don't come back, it's like, yeah, they're going to come back physically, but they're not going to come back mentally. They're not going to be ready to challenge themselves again. They're going to be discouraged. And so we have to cultivate that feeling of, you know what, I didn't succeed, but I can go back and I've got that homeroom, or I've got that teacher, I've got that family member, I've got somebody that's going to tell me, it's all right. You're going to get it next time. And so as educators, I think that we do ourselves a favor in showing them that they can fail and still succeed afterwards. I mean, once you fall down, get back up again. And it doesn't matter how many times you've fallen, you can still get back up again. And so just reminding children of that reality, I think, would end up helping us with students who maybe become more difficult with their behaviors because they're not succeeding academically, or maybe they're being frustrated because of activities that are happening at home that are out of our control, and they're very successful and capable, but they're not putting in that effort at school. Well, when you show them that they have the ability, that source to kind of stop that reality and escape and be successful and be something else, then you have just welcomed them with open arms, and you've shown them a whole different realm. I can tell you from experience that when there's a lot of really bad stuff happening at home, it feels so good to go to school when you were a really good student. So I know that my grades definitely helped me and pushed me to be the best person that I am, and my teachers for motivating me and constantly encouraging me to be better and be successful and come up from this in a positive way definitely helped me develop that mentality of keep working, Victoria, keep working, you're almost there, you're going to be free, you're going to get to do whatever you want, and you get to live life at whatever quality you decide is enough or more than enough, or whatever it is that you want, you're going to get that. All you have to do is keep working. And so letting our kids know that is definitely so powerful. I also definitely think that we should let our faculty know that. So as a leader in a school, I would want to assign homework, and I'm all about assigning homework to adults. I think it's so fun, but only fun homework. So I would assign an activity where you would have to create a collage. I would give my faculty maybe like a month in advance. I think that's absolutely way too much time. But I think that for an activity like this, some people might want some more time to plan ahead. Some people like going over the top, and some people like time to push it off. So either way, they're all happy. But I would give them about a month ahead of warning, and I would let them know, we're going to make a collage. I need you to bring in at least a 8 by 10, white copy paper. But I want you to use magazines or print out pictures or draw if if you're a really good artist and you think that that's something that you want to put on paper to show the staff, then go for it. But I want a visual of who you are now, what you've blossomed to become now, and where you came from, where your roots are, and what made you become this organism that you are now. I mean, essentially, I mean like a tree. But for example, I would want them to just kind of draw a tree however they want. You can't really see that. But, in the dirt, that's where the worms are. That's where, it's dirt. It's dirty. I like hanging out and having picnics, so I won't say that dirt is like terrible. Dirt doesn't hurt, but I would not want to hang out here. I'd want to hang out up here in the beautiful, oh, my pen's running out of me. But I'd want to hang out in the beautiful top with the beautiful leaves and maybe some fruits or maybe some flowers. And so I would ask my faculty to fill up the top of their tree. I might even send out a template, a small little template on a PDF, and just say, hey, print this off and draw it in, or copy and paste and print it off, however you want. That might even be so easy for them. And I want them to just show us what did you come from? What were your roots? Where did you begin? What made you who you are today? One of my favorite sayings is no hay rosas sin espinas, and it's Spanish for there are no roses without thorns. And I think that it is very true. It's very powerful. You can't have the beauty of a rose, the beauty of life and growing and learning and being successful without having fallen and being pricked and being hurt, or just finding yourself at a standstill to reflect. And so you have to remember where you came from to appreciate where you are sometimes or where you're going. And it definitely has an impact and molds who you are. But through resilience and through skills that we can further practice as a faculty, we should be able to turn that story into something that will make our growth in abundance. It will bring us to fruition. Did I use that word right? It will be very fruitful. It will be like manure. You know how they put on the crops or something? I'm not a country girl, but basically, you know what I'm saying. So, like a lotus flower, I think, comes from mud, and it's a very beautiful thing, but it comes from a very dirty area. So, I just want my staff to understand that just like they, too, have come from a different story, our students also come from a different story, and that can very well and will very well affect the way that we behave and the choices that we make. And so just having them see that for themselves firsthand in each other's stories and their own story, and having respect for each other and everybody's story, is going to help the staff cultivate that feeling within their own classrooms and within the building. When they see a student having a fit or when they see a student throwing a tantrum, they're going to be able to stop and say, hey, let's collect your thoughts. What are you thinking? How can I help you right now? What is going on? Let's stop this before it gets any worse, because you're going to be able to come back from this. And so while we are cultivating that within our staff, it will leak out. Just leak out in abundance to the students, because everybody loves to feel good. And when you hear really good advice or you hear a really good saying, that's what Facebook is literally thriving on. When you hear something really good and you're like, oh, that's so funny, or oh my God, that's so sad, or oh, whoa, that's so cool. Anything that you're like, whoa, you want people to see it too. And you want them to be like, whoa, me too. That's why there's a like button. And now there's an angry and care for and whatnot. But the point is that when you share with people what you're feeling and this good feeling, and they feel that good feeling, you feel even better. And it's like tipping the scales. If I tip your scale positive, I feel good. You're feeling my bucket, I feel your bucket, and now you're going to feel somebody else's bucket. And so just being an energy that grows in a room and expands in a way that is touching everybody's lives positively is something that I want to do, and so that's something that I would want to model for my faculty and staff, and something that I would want them to cultivate in their classrooms. And I would start that with my activity of their tree. We'd all share, and I would have them go back and do that with their classrooms, whether it be a homeroom or first period, or if it's lower education in general ed, and maybe even art class. But that would be one way that I would be able to kind of push my staff out of their comfort zone, or some of them into their zones of strengths. And from there, that's an opportunity for collaboration even. So it's a win-win. Thanks for listening.